This early morning, let us explore an excerpt from Kenchen Jigme Punsok's My Heart's Advice, and then let's meditate. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is brought to you by the generous folks who help support this channel on Patreon. This early morning, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two. But first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as young Luke Skywalker on Dagobah under the guidance of Yoda, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Good news. If at any point during this morning's live stream you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. I'm going to turn now. Let's tap button 14 and turn to this morning's excerpt. Yep, I'm just adding marks that make chanting easier for the newbie. It would have been very nice if I did this before the live stream, but life is that funny thing that happens where you're making plans to do other things. Let's chant. May the useful son of speech Manjushri and his enlightened form with his sign and marks embodying the secret body, speech, and mind of all the infinite Buddhas and their Bodhisattva heirs. Tune your minds for the path of perfect awakening. Okay, so the wish of the author of this text is not self-aggrandizement or self-importance or a mansion on a hilltop. His wish is that all beings everywhere would enter the path of liberation and master it to the point of enlightenment. Towards that end, he works with a yidam. What's a yidam? A yidam is a fancy Tibetan word that can be translated as archetype. Why work with an archetype? All complex vertebrate life forms on this planet evolved to think symbolically. First we perceived, and then we began recalling perceptions, and then imagining or anticipating perceptions. And so it isn't a far cry to explore that similes and metaphors and hyperbole are integral to how the most ancient corners of our brain have evolved to think. And so there are many archetypes of enlightenment we can choose. The author of this text chose Manjushri, whose name, and we'll get into the etymology of the name in a few minutes. This is considered to be the archetype of enlightened wisdom. And so many scholars have relied upon this archetype. I was first introduced to this archetype about 30 years ago, and I hope you will enjoy it as well. I would like to start our practice, but first I'm going to blow my nose. And I'm back. Thank you for your patience. This is this morning's practice text, or sadhana, if you're nasty. Specifically, this is Atisha's concise sadhana adapted for Manjushri and amplified by yours truly. I mentioned that I was the one who adapted and amplified, not to boast, but simply because I do not wish to deceive anybody. When teaching, there are two priorities: either orthodoxy or B, pragmatism, and I've chosen pragmatism. A late Lama once said, "I don't care if none of my students attain enlightenment. All I want is these teachings to be preserved." To which I respond, if your teachings don't enlighten, they don't deserve to be preserved. And so the test of the teaching is not what's the most popular interpretation. The test of the teaching is, hey, when this is applied, what creates the most poignant effects in the heart and mind of the practitioner? With that as my guiding light, I've prepared this text for you. I hope you will find it beneficial. We come, let the second and sixth folds of the Eightfold Path pertain to empathy and enthusiasm. And I found the easiest way to train in them is by reciting the couplet of bodhicitta and the couplet of refuge. Please join me. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. Let us now sample both right view as well as right intention. May everyone be free from suffering. May everyone be happy. May no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, freed. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a beautiful cloudless morn, which, although compelling to the eye, is not graspable to the hand. Om Sobhavashuddha Sarva Dharma Sobhavashuddhoham. All phenomena, including myself, are purified of conventional existence. Everything becomes as non-graspable as emptiness. Oh, what fun it is to edit with Lama Jigme, eh? If you've just joined me, welcome aboard. Quick reminder, if at any point at all during this early morning's live stream you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Our first of two silent meditations. This awareness and letting go's mindfulness and meditation is known by many names, such as Zen Chan Jnana Atiyoga Mahamudra Dzogchen Treksho, which translates as slice through. Despite the grandiosity of its name, it is actually rather simple. We will look at this from three perspectives: Jing, Qi, and Shen. Body, breath, and mind. From the physical point of view, simply physically emulate this statue of the Buddha in the center of the screen. When it comes to respiration, you'll want your in-breath to be shorter and sharper and your exhalation to be longer and softer. When it comes to the mind, during the inhalation, we silently and mentally recite the sensory verb watch. Why do we do that? Because during each inhalation, we automatically access our sympathetic nervous system, which is wired, which has evolved, not to concentrate, but to perceive. And in what manner to perceive? Vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. We could notice sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. We could emote, intend, reason, recall, and imagine. We could notice the external or the internal, the physical or the mental, the pleasurable or the painful, the interesting or the boring, the glorious or the grotesque. What are we to do with that which we notice? Glad you asked. During each inhalation, we automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to physically relax and mentally release. Therefore, this simple technique of silently and mentally reciting watch during the inhalation and silently and mentally reciting the hyphenated verb relaxing during the exhalation is the key to great peace. You can practice this meditation any place, any time, anywhere, anyhow. You can do it standing, walking, sitting, lying down. One of my spiritual heroes, the late Dzab Haltrul Rinpoche, was fond of practicing this while laying on a hide on the ground while gazing into the sky. Some people get very uptight and they say there's only certain postures you can use, but that flies in the face of the Satipatthana Sutta. Some people get really bent out of shape saying that they have to hallucinate or they're not spiritual and they have to have specific hallucinations, but that is not what the Buddha taught. You may hallucinate, you might not hallucinate. Whatever you experience or you don't experience, is simply something to notice and release. Now, anything we notice and then release is like a teacher on the path. Whether that teacher is one of flesh, blood, and bone, or a fully enlightened Buddha in their peaceful or wrathful aspect as depicted in tantric art. The fools will confuse a metaphor for a literal statement and chase hallucinations. The wise know better. Paul Trul Rinpoche used to teach, yes, it's good to be aware of the three circles of mindfulness, but the most important facet is our own mind. That which we see or think we see is not nearly as important as the mind that sees it. So whatever we're experiencing, we just apply it to the exercise. It's like watch relaxing is a spinning Cuisinart, and whatever we experience, we just drop in it and turn it into a vegan pate. We can traverse one of two paths, that of yang or that of yin, that of grotesque patriarchy or authentic matriarchy. We can choose to be rigid or flexible, fearful or loving, controlling or laid back, elitist or egalitarian, competitive or cooperative, cruel or kind. The first path will take you many places, but peace is not one of them. Beware of teachers who speak of forbidden practices, for the Buddha never did. As the Buddha lay dying, he said to his students, I have taught with an outstretched arm and an open hand, keeping no secrets. If your teacher keeps secrets, thank them for their time and find a better teacher. I apologize if I'm slurring. I've had quite a week. Let's chant. From the emptiness appears a suitable palm which transforms into a lotus seed. On the top of this appears a suitable orb which transforms into a moon seed the size of a thumbnail, on which this mind appears in the form of the orange letter D, the size of a mustard seed. From this orange suitable D may light rays emit that make offerings to the Buddhas for the benefit of all sentient beings. May the rays reabsorb into this mind and thus become like the archetype Manjushri of the gentle voice. And now we explore the iconography of the archetype. We do not do so to worship or to beg favors, but simply to act as the fodder for the 8 similes of love and letting go that are integral to our mantra meditation. His body is orange-colored with 1 face and 2 hands. His right hand holds a wisdom sword, and his left at his heart holds between thumb and ring finger the stem of an Udpala flower. This blossoms beside his left ear and supports a scripture. of the perfection of Wisdom Sutra in 8,000 lines. He sits in the Vajra posture and is adorned with silks and jeweled ornaments. His hair is tied up in a top knot which hangs down to the left, and he has a peaceful, smiling manner. Though he appears, he lacks graspable existence like a reflection in a mirror. His back rests against a full moon throne. On his forehead is a syllable. On his throat is the syllable I, and on his sternum is the syllable Hum. From the sternum whom light rays emit and invoke all the Buddhas of the 10 directions, each in the form of Manjushri. Om Benza Samayan Zahum Bam Ho. All these yidams absorb into oneself. So we're going to do something here real quick and be creative because that's kind of fun. Okay, let's try this again. Om Benza Samaya Za Hum Bam Ho. All these yidams absorb into oneself. Each Buddha in the retinue in the aspect of Manjushri now inhabit each of our portions, transforming them into a pure lands. Again from the seed suitable on a sternum let rays emit and invoke the 5 initiating jhana Buddhas. We now recite Om Vajra Samaya and make the request. Please, all Buddhas, bestow on me all empowerments. Then the Tathagata say Om Sarva Tathagata Abhishika Samaya Shriyahum. Having spoken thusly, they pour water from a vessel on top of our heads. The water goes throughout our bodies, purifying all bodily defilements. It fills up our bodies to the top of our heads. Then on top of our heads appears a Nirmanakaya form of Amitabha. I offer the experience of wisdom sights appearing yet as non-graspable as a void. Om Manjushri Adashe Pati Sahum Soha. I offer the experience of wisdom sounds resounding yet as non-graspable as a void. Om Manjushri Vini Pati Sahum Soha. I offer the experience of wisdom sense fragrant yet as non-graspable as a void. Om Manjushri Gande Pati Sahum Soha. I offer the experience of wisdom, taste flavorful yet as non-graspable as a void. Om Manjushri Rase Pati Sahum Soha. I offer the experience of wisdom, feeling sensual yet as non-graspable as a void. Om Manjushri Pashe Pati Sahum Soha. I offer the experience of wisdom, thoughts lucid yet as not graspable as a mind. Om Manju Shri Dharme Pati Soham Soha. Let us now leap over our competitive tendencies through the cunning use of 4 mantra meditations. At one's heart on the moon sea there is an orange syllable D, surrounded by the 6 syllables Omarapatsana. Let's try this again. Omarapatsana. From these syllables may light rays of light emit and make offerings to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. To the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas which aid in the benefit of all sentient beings, may all the powers, blessings, and love of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas manifest in the form of rays of light, which absorb into the mantra rosary encircling the heart seed syllable. We now recite the mantra 128 times or as much as possible. So we're going to leap over our competitive tendencies by practicing love-oriented mantra meditations. So what is the secret to transform a mindless mantra recitation into truly transformative mantra meditation? The secret is twofold. Number 1, while reciting the mantra, physically relax as best you can. Number 2, during the inhalation, either silently and mentally recite a wisdom-inducing rhetorical question, or silently and mentally recite a love-inducing intention. This love-inducing intention is 6 syllables long, which is very convenient, but it's cryptic. So we fleshed out in the previous page. Let's chant. May all minds of all beings now be as peaceful and wise as the mind of a Buddha of law symbolized by a 1-syllable Siti Kleo Bija mantra. Umara Pazanari, Umara Pazanari, Umara Pazanari, Umara Pazanari. 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 May all relationships of all beings to be as joyful and loving as a real or imagined Buddha's communication symbolized by this 7-syllable mantra. Umara Bazana di 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 May whole bodies of all beings know and enjoy the beautiful, healthy, depicted in Buddhist thought of the blissful body of a yidam of lore and archetype of enlightenment. Umara Bazana di 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 May all circumstances or lots of all beings know have their safety, good fortune, and boon, as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land or Vanti. Umara Bazana di 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 As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a beautiful cloudless morn, which although compelling to the eye is not graspable to the hand. How is it that as we inhale all circumstances could appear quite vivid, yet as we relax into our exhalation they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined paradise or vati of light? Umara Bazana di 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 Umara Bhazana 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 Di. Excuse me. How is it that as we inhale our bodies, our forms could feel quite sensual? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined archetype or yadam of light. Umara Bhazana Di 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 Umara Bhazana Di. How is it that as we inhale the interpersonal experience of communication, our speech could be quite resounding? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra of light. Umara Bhazana Di 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 Umara Bhazana Di. How is it that as we inhale, we could perceive our mind's functions quite clearly? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined seed-suitability of light. Umara Bhazana Di 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 Umara Bhazana Di. If you've just joined this early morning's live stream, welcome aboard. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. We come to our second and final silent meditation of this session. This bliss and letting go is known by many names, such as completion stage tantra, anu yoga, bindu mahamudra, and tikle drop. So let's think of this in terms of body, breath, and mind. Sit in an impeccable posture, in a comfortable posture, while creating traction between your head and your pelvis. When it comes to your breathing, your inhalation wants to be shorter and sharper, and your exhalation is to be longer and softer. Mentally, as you breathe in, silently and mentally recite the sensory verb feel. Why do you do that? Because every time we breathe in, whether we know it or not, we are accessing our sympathetic nervous system, which has evolved not to concentrate, but to perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. As you exhale, we can silently and mentally recite the hyphenated verb relaxing. Now, why would we do that? Because every time we exhale, we access our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to both physically relax and mentally release. Come, let us practice together right now. I apologize that this practice contains meditations that are truncated, but I'm terribly disabled, and this week has been ridiculously taxing, and one can only do what one can only do. May the common magical powers and supreme attainments of full enlightenment be bestowed upon all sentient beings and myself. Through all recitation and meditation, may all sickness, poverty, and warfare be dispelled everywhere, and may all dharma and good fortune increase. If you feel I have earned it, you could type something in the chat window. You could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could share it with a friend, or you could even help support this channel on Patreon. Whether you do or whether you don't, it is my intention to return in approximately 3 hours to lead today's mid-morning meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.